Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and figure out exactly how you can make sure your healthcare provider is safe, truly qualified, and actually licensed to practice in the state of Georgia.
So, let me ask you something. Did you know that verifying a physician's license in Georgia is way easier than you probably think, yet absolutely crucial for making sure your provider is qualified? It literally takes just a few clicks. But, far too often we just skip this step. We walk into a clinic, see the white coat, and just kind of assume it guarantees a spotless record. Well, today, we're going to change that. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have the exact tools you need to take total control of your healthcare journey.
Here is a quick look at our roadmap today. We'll cover why verify your doctor, understanding medical licensing, a step-by-step verification guide, interpreting license status results, real-life stakes and additional tips, and we'll wrap up with our conclusion and disclaimer.
Starting with Section 1, why verify your doctor?
Like I mentioned, it's so easy to just assume a doctor's credentials are perfect, but check out this number, 200. Get this, every single month, the state board receives an average of 200 complaints that they have to investigate. That's a lot, right? And these range from basic billing disputes, which actually fall outside the board's jurisdiction anyway, to incredibly serious allegations. We're talking things like failing to meet the minimum standard of care, overprescribing drugs, or even physical abuse. Unprofessional conduct is a very real risk, and verifying credentials, that's your first line of defense.
Moving right along to Section 2, understanding medical licensing. To really understand this process, you need to know who's actually running the show. Meet the Georgia Composite Medical Board, or the GCMB for short. They're an independent state agency fully funded by the Georgia General Assembly. And their core mission? It's not just stamping and handing out licenses. Their main job is to protect the health of Georgians by objectively enforcing the Medical Practice Act. They are the ones who evaluate if a physician's conduct means their license should be modified, suspended, or completely revoked.
Now, the board is made up of 15 members appointed by the governor. What's really interesting here is the breakdown. 13 of them are physicians, meaning obviously medical experts are the ones heavily guiding the standards of care. But crucially, there are 2 public members on the board who have absolutely zero ties to medicine, and that's by design. It ensures that the voice of the everyday healthcare consumer, people like you and me, is represented in these major disciplinary and licensing decisions.
All right, Section 3, Step-by-Step Verification Guide.
Let's get to the really actionable stuff. Verifying a license is incredibly straightforward. You don't even need to make an account or have some special registration code. Step 1. Just head over to gatewaymedicalboard.georgia.gov. Step 2. Click on Search for a licensee. Step 3. Type in your provider's last name, or if you happen to have their specific license number, you can use that too. Finally, hit Search. In a matter of seconds, you're looking right at their official profile.
The information that pops up on that screen is what's known as primary source verification. Basically, that's just a fancy way of saying it's authoritative data pulled directly from the state's own database. You'll instantly see their license number, current status, the exact date they got their license, and when it expires. And this is vital. It will also list any public board orders. Oh, and as a side note, if you're looking up a physician assistant, it'll even show you their approved physician supervisors.
On to Section 4. Interpreting license status results.
So finding the profile is great, but it's really only half the battle. You have to know how to decode the jargon you find there. If you see active, you're completely in the clear. Green flag. They are fully authorized to practice. Now, if you see probation or active with restrictions, consider that a yellow flag. They are legally allowed to practice, but the board is monitoring them to make sure they comply with specific rules, like requiring extra supervision or training. If their status says lapsed or expired, that means they failed to renew and they absolutely cannot legally practice medicine right now. And finally, if you see summarily suspended, revoked, or surrendered, that is a massive red flag. The board has legally shut down their clinical practice, usually because of severe disciplinary issues.
Section 5. Real-life stakes and additional tips.
It's really helpful to understand how a patient complaint actually becomes public because it gives you a lot of perspective on why those board orders carry so much weight. When a patient reports bad care, the board gets the complaint. But by state law, the investigation that follows is strictly confidential. You will not see it on the doctor's profile. If the board does find a violation, it goes to a hearing or a settlement. It is only at the very end of this whole process, if disciplinary action is taken, that it becomes a public board order visible to you. So if you do see an order, know that it has survived a very rigorous investigation.
To give you an idea of the real-life stakes here, let's look at some anonymized, actual cases the board has dealt with.
Imagine a scenario where a patient visits a clinic and the physician is acting completely erratically, essentially practicing under a physical or chemical impairment. Or think about a doctor conducting a physical exam of the breast or genitalia of an opposite-sex patient without even offering a chaperone. That is explicitly against Board Rule 360-3-.02. Or maybe a doctor is prescribing highly controlled substances without any legitimate medical reason. These aren't just hypotheticals. In real instances documented by the board, these exact issues have led to licenses being placed on probation, surrendered, or entirely revoked to protect the public. Verifying a license makes sure you weren't walking blindly into a clinic with that kind of history.
But here's a really nuanced tip for you. Seeing a public board order on a profile doesn't automatically mean the doctor is bad. Sometimes, the board just requires a doctor to get a bit more training as a simple condition of licensure. But because it's a legally binding agreement, it still gets filed as a public board order. That is exactly why you have to actually click into the documents, read the certified copies of the orders, check for specific malpractice judgments or settlements, and get the full context for yourself. You know, this whole system traces its roots all the way back to 1825. The board was originally created to protect the public from a massive influx of unqualified practitioners, or quacks, as they called them back then. But here's the thing. This centuries-old system only works today if we engage with it. As a healthcare consumer, you are literally the eyes and ears for the medical board. If we don't report substandard care or check credentials, unsafe practitioners can just fly under the radar. It really is a shared responsibility.
And finally, Section 6, Conclusion and Disclaimer.
The biggest takeaway from all of this is empowerment. You have every right to ask questions about your care, to review your estimated charges, and above all, to know exactly who is treating you. Taking just 2 minutes to verify credentials on the state portal can save you and your family from so much stress down the line. I highly encourage you to make this standard practice in your household. Share this knowledge with your friends, because at the end of the day, an informed patient is a protected patient.
Just before we finish up, please remember this explainer is for informational purposes only. Always consult official state sources like the GCMB portal and seek professional advice before making any healthcare decisions. So the next time you're sitting in a waiting room, ask yourself, do you truly know who is behind the white coat? Take the 2 minutes to check. It might just save your life.